All right, nice to see everyone. If you have blocks, grab some. If you have a strap, grab it. You don't need to use it, but if you have one, it might make things more lovely. And nice to see you all. Today is the first of a series of 4 classes that I'm going to offer as a practice of navigating change and uncertainty with more buoyancy or equanimity or whatever you choose you might like to bring to this year of 2025 as it's shaking out. And with the specific invitation of our inauguration on Monday, and potentially a lot of held tension and anticipatory anxiety, and who knows what else may be joining you on the journey. And I like to do what I call stacking classes, where we do several classes in a row, knowing that we can optimize our physiology and optimize how replete we are in advance of a change or something that we would like to approach with a little bit more intention. It gives us a bit more reserve and a bit more intentional energy. So these classes are offered with that in mind. And I am also going to do a session on Sunday night more about the mindset of approaching change and uncertainty with equanimity and buoyancy, as I like to say. So if you want to join me for that, I've sent out the link to those of you that are on my email list, and I would love to have you. It's labeled as a curious about coaching, but it's because I can use the same link, and that makes it easier for me. So I would love to see anyone there who wants to join me to talk more specifically about the mindset when you're not on your yoga mat. And today's class is really going to be more about the physiology rather than the mindset, knowing that priming our physiology and tuning ourselves up is the ideal practice for allowing mindset shifts, especially when they may be over something that is emotionally stressful or challenging. So with that, find a seat on your mat. If you have a block, sit up atop a block or a bolster or a firm couch cushion, whatever suits you. And find your sit bones, really find them. And root your sit bones down however you're sitting. I know some of you don't cross legs. Do what works for your body, doesn't matter. But find your root, find your center, and tilt your pelvic bowl anteriorly, align your vertebrae one atop the other, all the way through the crown of your head, like there's a marionette stretching to the ceiling. And take in a breath in through your nose and out through your mouth. Let the first breath be a primer, sending that oxygen everywhere, every fingertip, toe tip, breathing in gently, not forcing it, and breathing out. With an intentional slowness, knowing that most of us operate on a super fast speed, gifting yourself this time to slow down, to let your nervous system know it's okay to let go and soften and relax a bit. And breathing in with that intention of filling up or repleting. Exhale, let it out. And notice where your hands have landed, face up or face down. And just notice how it feels. If they're face down, rubbing that skin to skin, noticing that rubbing skin to skin or skin to pants feels good. Something we often don't do and can be a beautiful way to take good care of yourself in times of change and uncertainty when our nervous system is revved up. And oftentimes that movement, that massage can feel good. Closing eyes if they're open, come to stillness and notice how you feel in this moment. Maybe some tingles. We'll bring a hand to heart and another hand atop. And taking a moment here to acknowledge where you are. Allow whatever feelings may be, not willpowering or white knuckling them to go away, just letting them be there, honoring them, acknowledging that those feelings, thoughts, whatever's going on in your body, it's not unreasonable, it's human. And sending the breath to any of those that might like to soften. Noticing the simplicity of your chest rise and fall. Breathe in through your nose and out through your mouth. Staying present in the moment. Being patient for any little micro shifts here. Notice the power of the breath and the simple power of slowing down. Notice the pressure of the bottom hand. Perhaps press the heel of the hand in, sending that oxytocin, wishing yourself well, everyone here well, everyone near and far well. Remembering you can connect with community, and connection itself also heals the nervous system, helps your physiology step out of fight or flight. And rub the top hand on the bottom hand. Once again, enjoying that skin, that sensation. And pause and enjoy. Enjoy 3 more breaths. And wrap your hands to the opposite arm and just rub the hands up and down the arm, perhaps giving yourself a bit of a hug, a nice sensation, and letting that go towards your nervous system. And when that feels complete, perhaps a squeeze and release. And bring your hands to heart center, palms together, rubbing them together slowly and gently today, not fast, enjoying the skin to skin. Bring your thumbs to your sternum, finger pads reach to the sky. Press the palms together, each finger together in the present, noticing each and every one. Press the thumbs into your sternum. Notice the connection. Notice your chest rise with the inhale and fall with the exhale. And set your own intention today, potentially around your physiology, taking good care of you, refilling, rejuvenating, restoring, calming, quieting, whatever word resonates with you. Perhaps slowing down, creating space. Notice what you need today. And the word that comes in may not be at all what you thought it would be. And that's okay. Just let it be seen, let it be known, and explore it on your mat. Using this next hour as a way to prime your nervous system and your physiology to be healthier and to respond rather than react. And to move forward with kindness and grace. Taking in a big, deep breath, honoring whatever your specific intention might be. Exhale, release, and let it go. And let yourself melt for a moment, wiggling fingers, perhaps undoing any kinks. And pause. Squeezing your face tight, your fists tight, your shoulders up to your ears, everything squeezing tight. And exhale, release, and let go. Notice how that feels. We'll do that one more time. Squeeze fists, face, cheeks, teeth, shoulders up, occiput into your shoulders. Enjoy all that tension, held tight, tight, tight. And with intention, let go and release and melt. Notice how that feels. Bring your arms out to the sides. Palms face forward. Wrap them in front, right elbow under left. We're going to come into eagle arms. Your elbows will connect. Palms will face the back and then towards each other. And wherever you land for an eagle, we all have different looking eagles. Lift elbows to shoulder height. Pause here for a moment. Notice the interscapular space and the tension held there. Send the breath to that space and invite release on the exhale. Inhale, press elbows in opposite direction and release. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, lower your elbows to shoulder height. Inhale, lift up once more. Exhale, round forward, folding into relaxation. Enjoy the letting go. Let your neck take a holiday. Enjoy your upper back. Suck your belly back towards your spine. We'll be here for one more breath, potentially eyes closed, softening in, releasing that control. Inhale up to neutral, shoulder height. Untangle and press your hands into the side walls. Flex your wrists, reaching the fingers to the sky. Drop your fingers to the floor. Reach them up to the sky. Gaze left and come back to center. And gaze right and come back to center. Squeeze your fist tight, 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 and flick to release. Squeeze tight, 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 and flick to release. Squeeze tight, 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 and release. Turn the palms to face front. Come into eagle arms on the opposite side, left under right, if you followed me last time, and otherwise do your thing. Elbows to shoulder height. Pause, pause and breathe, moving slow. The moving slow is sometimes hard when we feel anxious. Just allowing your nervous system to slow down. Our nervous systems are trained to go fast in most of us. Inhale, press elbows against each other. Exhale, release. Inhale, lift up an inch. Exhale, lower to shoulder height. Inhale, lift up an inch. Exhale, round forward. Elbows come to belly. Drop your head and neck and allow yourself to soften. Soften amidst the tension. In yoga, there's a duality, and while we're present and supposedly singularly focused, we're often doing things, opposite things at the same time. We often say the balance between ease and effort. Bring your elbows to shoulder height, untangle, and lower them down. Shrug your shoulders up, squeezing tight, lots of squeezing and releasing today, letting your nervous system get the message it's okay to let go. Drop your shoulders, enjoy the tingles in your fingers, letting that happen. Stretch your legs long in front, and if it works for you, you can stay on your block or bolster and blanket, and if not, come to the floor. Find your sit bones, find that steadiness. It's a little unsteady. There's a little balance there. Find your belly, suck your navel into the spine. Sit up tall with kindness. Invite your shoulders to drop. Let the crown of your head reach to the sky like that marionette. Bring hands to your thighs, flex ankles, flex toes. Knees are straight to the best of your ability. Slowly slide down the legs towards the shins. Back is flat. Your heart is shining forward. Gaze is forward. Trying not to arch the back or arch your C-spine, just letting it be flat. And enjoying the tension in the backs of the legs. Relax your toes. Point your toes. You'll notice you have to use your belly here to not fall off whatever you're sitting on. Flex your ankles towards you. Spread your toes. Release the toes. Slide forward a smidge more or a lot more. You may find you have a lot more room, and pause. Draw your elbows towards midline wherever they can. Notice that shift in your back. Suck your belly back to the spine. Take a big inhale here. Exhale, slide forward a wee bit more. Softening in while the energy moves, the tension moves, letting it go. Sliding up, shaking your knees out, and come off of whatever you are sitting on. And we're going to come into double pigeon for those of you for whom that works, or cow face pose, the knee upon knee. So you decide if you want to be crisscross with the right ankle atop the left knee and sit up tall. That might feel amazing to you, or right knee atop left knee. The right knee atop the left in the cow face pose will allow you to rock and move a bit. And notice whether your body needs more movement to release or stillness. Letting yourself notice what you need. We all need different things. Most of us think there's a right or a wrong or a recipe to soften in. Figure out what you need today, and what you need on this side might be different than on the other side. Wherever you are, tilt your pelvic bowl forward. Grow your spine tall, let your heart be light. Reach the crown of your head to the sky like that marionette and drop your shoulders. Drop your chin to your chest and breathe into those neck muscles that work so hard to hold everything. Invite them to soften. Bring your chin back to chest. And you'll release your hands if you're crisscrossed and untangle wherever you are. Bring your legs all the way to the front and have a bang. And take a moment. And we'll switch sides and check out the other side. See if that works. Someone is asking me a question. So yeah, if you can't do the double pigeon or the cow face pose, you can either lie on your back and do a figure 4, or you can do butterfly pose. You'll have a slightly different experience, but it will still be lovely. So you'll switch sides and do whatever works for you on this side, and notice what feels good to you. So if you're lying on your back, you'll do figure 4, and you can also invite a rock there if you feel like you need that movement to invite the release. It allows that stuck stuff to move, all the stuff you're really holding. And so be kind to your hips here, and notice you may decide you need to do something different on this side. We think we have to do the same thing. That's the recipe for yoga, but you do not have to. Breathing in through your nose wherever you are, and out through your mouth. And once again, in through your nose and out through your mouth. And untangle, banging your feet out. And we'll sweep our feet around, coming to hands and knees. Let yourself find center, find steady. If you need a blanket under your knees, enjoy that. Enjoy a cat-cow, perhaps a small one to start. Rocking your pelvis may be all that you're doing. You don't necessarily need to get into the chest or the shoulders or the head. Notice if your tendency is to just go all in and push it, and try to not do that today. Let it be soft. Let it be kind. We'll lower our hands down, elbows on the floor, come into, we call it puppy pose, or for today, I'm going to use its other name, which is melting heart. Letting your heart lower to the floor, forehead come to the floor, and your shoulders will likely have a bit of a stretch or a release. Notice your forehead on the floor.
and breathe. Inviting, softening, melting. Letting whatever tension is in that heart, all the things you're holding tight, can they soften? Send the breath. Gifting your heart some space to fill. Remembering when it fills more fully, our systole and our energy is more powerful to do whatever it is we choose to do about whatever turns up. One more big breath here. Send it into the shoulders. And exhale, let it out. Slowly coming back up to hands and knees. Find your center. A small cat-cow again. And from hands and knees, bring your left foot between you and between your hands and grab your blocks if you have them. We're going to come into a low lunge here so you can get here however works for your body. Use blocks if you have them. Noticing that the support of the blocks is going to help you sink in. When you arrive here in Anjaneyasana, notice your front toes. If they're gripping, lift them up, lower them down, tack that left hip back and your right hip forward. And if you don't have blocks, bring your hands to hips or to the front thigh, not to the sky yet. Not overdoing, overstretching, trying to get farther faster. Allowing your nervous system to settle means staying within it. And oftentimes we use restorative yoga to settle, but for many of us, restorative yoga, lying there for long periods of time is challenging. So starting with this and mixing it in with child's pose or puppy pose can work a little bit better. Notice your hips here and invite a little rock if you can, if you have the blocks. If you don't have the blocks, it's going to be tiny. Just sending a little movement in there, maybe letting your shoulders move a little. Noticing what you're holding, wiggling toes. Lower your hands to the floor and you'll bring your left hand to the inside of the left foot. Wiggle your left foot to the outer edge of the mat. We're going to come into lizard pose. You can bring the blocks in front for those of you whose bodies fold low. Mine does not, so I stay up on my fists or up on blocks in lizard, allowing that pelvic opening and release. Many women are feeling somewhat threatened in the world today. And so here on your mat, at least, let yourself have some space and letting go of some of that tight held, maybe anger, frustration in there. I invite the rocking movement once again. We know that the movement can allow things to move that are otherwise stuck when we're always holding positions. Lowering hands back to the floor. You'll take your left foot around, bringing it back to hands and knees. Bring your toes together, knees apart, and sink your hips back. Come to child's pose. If you have the blocks, you can send them in front and put your hands on. You'll get a bit more of a shoulder stretch, but you choose. If your shoulders bother you, you can also bring your shoulders wide, wide, wide to the outer edge of the mat. Notice what allows you to sink your hips way down. Enjoy the hip sinking. And 5 deep breaths here. Long and smooth. Sending them into the armpits, into the pelvic region, all the way to the tips of your toes, the soles of your feet. Maybe one to wrap and bathe your heart. And when you're ready, coming back up to hands and knees, find your center and we'll bring your right foot between your hands. Come into Anjaneyasana on this side. Use the blocks directly under your shoulders. Wiggle your right foot forward. Use your toes. Be kind to that back knee, staying off the knee.
You're really more on the bottom of the femur, if you can envision that. And invite your hips to soften and release a little, not too much, don't overdo it. And not raising hands to the sky today on purpose to not overdo it. Noticing all the little movements involved. Your toes, are they gripping? Engage your right glute and hip to stabilize you. What happens when you do that to the left hip flexor? Noticing these small movements, tiny little changes can make a big difference. And when the world seems overwhelming, one breath, one stretch, one wiggle, squeezing your shoulders to your ears and releasing. Slowly lower down to the inside of the right foot, and you'll walk your foot to the outside. Come into that lizard pose, whatever it looks like for you. It looks pretty different for many of us. People often in my classes can be all the way on the floor, and my body doesn't do that. So again, let it feel good and don't overextend. And if this doesn't work, you can stay in Anjaneyasana. Part of yoga is knowing what works and what doesn't. And if you're someone that needs a lot of variations, I highly recommend coming to a retreat because I can work with you and give you all the tools you need to make the things work for you. When I do them, they're small, so it's much easier to get that personal attention. And if you learn what works for you, you have it forever. When you feel complete here, slide the right foot back around. Come back into child's pose, this time with knees together. Your belly will squish and reach your hands far forward, coming into that bunny pose, we call it, or bug. Taking a moment here, squished up in the bug. To breathe, even despite the squish, remembering you can breathe, you can relax. Slowly coming out, walking your hands forward, slide into Sphinx. You'll be on your elbows, forearms on the floor, spread both fingers, both palms to the floor, 10 fingers. Press your hips down, taking good care of your lower back, and keep it low if your back doesn't like being high. Noticing the strength in your center, in your core. Heart is light. And don't overstretch your neck, gazing forward, but not up. We tend to arch. Notice the tops of the feet. Press them into the earth. Press your hips into the earth. Noticing you're stable, you're steady. Curling toes here. Slide your hands back under you. Press back to any child's pose that feels good to release your back. Taking time to transition, something we don't do. Shift back to hands and knees, and we'll curl up to downward dog. And pause there. Notice what feels good here. Bend your knees, both of them, straighten, shoot your hips up. See if you'd like a more narrow dog, a long dog, lots of choice today with the invitation of getting yourself back into your body and out of your head. While here, lots of energy shifts. Noticing upside down, how things feel different, look different. Allowing the energy to move. When we get anxious, the energy doesn't move. Inviting the walking the dog, perhaps. Huge breath in to every nook and cranny, every alveoli in the lungs and the back. Huge exhale. Perhaps lower your forehead a little bit more. Enjoy the backs of the legs. Ground into the ball of your left foot. Find your belly, raise your right leg to the sky, stack your hips, bend your knees, roll it out, let it feel good.
in both directions. Re-square your hips. Big breath in. Gently bring your foot between your hands. We'll come into that high lunge. And take a moment here just to organize yourself. Let the blood flow, readjust hands to hips today. Having a bounce. Come to steadiness when you are steady. When you found your center, you found your balance. Hands on hips to steady you. Straight your front knee and bend. And in the high lunge, both toes are facing forward. Straight your front knee, the back heel is off the ground, and bend. With each bend, bend a little lower. You may wiggle your back foot back a bit. Straight that front knee and bend. And pause here. See if you can close your eyes. Opening eyes. Lower your hands to either side of that right foot and hop your foot forward, coming into a forward fold. Widen your feet. Grasp your elbows and sway. Dropping into your body here if you can. Your knees can be bent. Release the back, release the head, and enjoy the sway, the movement. A lot of the somatic work talks about the sway. Especially upside down, we're less self-conscious about it. We just can sway. Come back to stillness. Untangle your arms, reclassify your sacrum, press your fists to the sky, let the hands fall forward. Let the tension in the shoulders and the neck go. Let your hands fall forward. And remember to breathe. Here, lift up all 10 toes. Find the root of the feet, all four corners, ground downward, lower your toes. Let your hands fall forward. Sink in a little bit more. If you need to widen your knees to give your belly some room, do that. Perhaps sway your hands here from one side to the other gently. Don't overdo it. Lower hands to your sacrum. Run them down the backs of your thighs to the front. Engage your belly and roll up. Arms will come out and up. Meet up top, palms together. Drip them down to heart center. And take a moment to breathe. Notice how you feel. Not rushing. I saw this, I'll call it a meme or some post about people who always show up 5 minutes late and they're always rushing. And the gift to your nervous system of giving yourself 5 minutes in between. And for me, that's been a lifelong thing, especially in medicine where there's never a minute in between anything. And this idea in yoga, pausing here in the in-between and enjoying it, practicing on your mat where it feels a little safer. Lower hands to Tadasana and let yourself equilibrate here. Wiggle fingers. Notice the soles of your feet on the earth. Draw up the earth's energy into your legs, into your belly. Wrap it around your belly like a corset. Use that energy to align your spine, filling your heart with that light and energy. Reach the crown of your head to the sky like that marionette. Huge breath in. Exhale, release, and soften in. Aligned, standing tall, but calm, steady, and graceful. Two more breaths. Opening eyes, wiggle your fingers, wiggle your toes, widen your feet a wee bit, and we're gonna come into just a standing twist like you're swaying from side to side, letting your arms move, but not too much, releasing any tension. And come back to center. Shrug your shoulders up as tight as you can. Tight, tight, tight. Occiput comes in and release and melt. Roll your wrists. We're going to come into tree pose. And for anybody who has a block and wants to try it, I did this with my own yoga teacher yesterday, and it was so much fun. You can stand on the block to do tree pose, but if you don't want to, just stand on the ground. For those of you who want to do it on the block, you'll put your block on the ground. If you have floor rather than mat, I recommend putting it on the floor. It's a little more stable, but we'll bring our right foot as the tree trunk wherever you are, placing it either on the block or just on the floor, noticing the sole of the foot and lifting up onto that block if you're there. If you're not there, still even your hips. Find yourself a stable center. Use your belly and hands on hips. And if you're on the block, just let your left foot kind of sway, finding that even hip off the floor. And finding the center hip is really key to tree pose anyway. And you'll take your left sole of the foot, raise it to your calf or your inner thigh, wherever you are. For those of you on the block, if you can get it to your inner thigh, kudos to you. And if you wish, raise your arms to the sky. Channeling that inner calm and equanimity and stability, letting it feel good. Breathe. If you want, close your eyes and notice a little more wiggle and wobble. And opening your eyes, an invitation to remember to use your resources to find your steadiness. Lower hands to heart. Press that thumb into your sternum, and you'll bring your knee forward and lower down, shake it out. And if you wish to use the block on the other side, just slide it over. Find your evenness and undo those kinks. Perhaps shrug your shoulders up and release. Roll your wrists. Drop your chin to chest, releasing any neck tension. Today is noticing those pockets where you hold, you in particular, which will be different for all of us, and letting them go. Sole of the left foot will plant on the block or on the floor, rooting the left leg down as your tree trunk, and even your hips wherever you are. If you're on the block, just let the right foot move, ensuring you're stable. Hands to hips, right sole of the foot comes to the calf or the inner thigh, you choose. Draw your right knee back. I see this balancing on the block as a little bit like what we might need to do ahead, but it can still be fun. Reaching your arms, branches to the sky if you want. You can also reach them out. Decide what feels good to you. There's no right tree. They can also come together and pointer fingers can reach to the sky. You choose. Bring your hands back to heart center, palms together. Press the thumbs into the sternum, find your steadiness, and gracefully bring your knee down and come off. Shake it out, roll it out, and come to the top of your mat. Root your feet into the earth, lift up all 10 toes, lower them down. Inhale your arms out and up, palms come together, and we'll drip forward, forward fold. Inhale for that half lift. Enjoy the backs of the legs. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale once again for that half lift. Slide your hands up the shins. Back is flat, heart shines forward. Let your neck be light and straight. Don't overarch. Lowering back down. Plant your hands, step back to plank, and pause here in the tension. Finding your belly, finding your steadiness. If you need to be hands and knees, you can do that. Doesn't matter. Do what feels good. Enjoying maybe a bit of the shakes. Notice if you shift your weight a little bit forward, what happens? Lock your humeral heads into the shoulder sockets, making sure that you're stable and using your belly and your core here, not your lower back. Shift forward onto your tippy toes. Drop your knees, wrap your elbows in, lower down, chaturanga to the floor. Inhale for low cobra. Weight is out of your hands. Exhale, lower down. Check that your weight is out of your hands. Inhale for low cobra again. Exhale, lower down. Curl your toes, press into your hands, lift up to downward dog. And enjoy. Have a walk. Let your spine stretch, your head relax. Invite your neck to have a little vacation. It spends so much time holding up that busy brain and all your worries. If you wish, do a lion's breath where you breathe in, stick your tongue out, and let it all out. Pause a moment to enjoy. Ground into the ball mound of the right foot. Find your center, wrap that corset around your belly. Inhale, raise the left leg into three-legged dog. Stack your hip, roll your ankle. Let it feel good. Re-square. And gently bring that foot between your hands. Come up to that high lunge and pause in the high lunge. Get your feet steady, find steady. A lesson as we move forward to find steady. And find steady in your mind, in your body, in your nervous system, in your breath. Notice if any one of those needs a little attention, perhaps a little rock here to find that steady, or a little bounce. Your back heel is off the ground, your back knee is bent a little bit, front knee bent a lot, but knee is not in front of the ankle. Hands on hips, pressing down onto the tops of the hips, feeling the hip bones for steadiness. Straight your knee and flex to bend a little further. Straight the knee. Exhale, bend. Inhale, straight your knee. Engage the right glute as you do this. Exhale, bend a little bit lower and pause. Pause and breathe. Close eyes if you can. Open eyes. Lower hands on either side of that front foot. Hop your front foot forward. We're going to sink back into chair pose. If you have a block, stick it between your thighs and sink back. Down and low, hands at heart center. Enjoying your hips, but not working your shoulders. Have a little bounce. Lift up all 10 toes. Find those four corners of your feet. Root your heels downward. And remember to breathe. Lower hands to the floor. Shoot your hips up and release. Drop head and neck. Remove the block. Bend one knee and then the other. Lift up your 10 toes. Lower them down. Engage your belly. Reach your arms out and up. Reaching to the sky. Palms come together. Drip down to heart center. Lowering hands by your sides. Tadasana or mountain pose. Notice how you feel now. Wiggle fingers and toes. A bit of a release. Opening eyes, and we're going to come down to our knees. You may need a blanket for your knees or not. We're going to come into broken toe, the best tension reliever I know. Sitting your rear end back onto your heels, you'll tuck your toes underneath you, one at a time. And if you can get your pinky toe on the ground, do that. Some people's pinky toes are really short and don't reach, but try to untuck and engage whichever toes you can. Hands will come to your thighs and you'll sink your hips back, your rear end towards your heels. I invite you to bounce a little bit, shifting forward and back, side to side, massaging your feet. We grip and hold a ton in our feet without noticing. When you need a break, not overdoing this, lifting up, coming up, and shifting back down and rocking a little bit. Let it be a massage of kindness. Let it feel good. Send the breath. Lower down to your hands, untuck your toes, and bang all the release into the floor. And any other frustration you'd like to let go. Really enjoy the energy of the bang and the shake and the movement. And we'll sweep our feet around. Coming to stretch your legs long in front. Reach your arms parallel to the legs. Engage your belly and unroll slowly, inch by inch, with patience and kindness. No gripping. If you need to grip, let yourself roll when you're ready, when it's too grippy, to lie on the earth. And let yourself arrive and melt in. Wiggle toes and fingers. Bend your knees. Bring your knees into your chest and give them a hug. Have a rock. Side to side. Massage your back. Bring your knees together, medial malleoli together, ankles flex, soles of the feet in front of you. You'll bring your hands behind your thighs, straight your right leg to the sky and your left leg to the sky. Press the hamstrings into your hands. Your sacrum's flat on the earth. Elbows are wrapped in towards you. Heels reach to the sky. Point your toes towards you. Lots of energy in the backs of the legs. Point your toes to the sky. Toes towards your nose. Heels reach to the sky. Ankles flexed. Point your toes to the sky. Once more. Ankles flexed, toes towards you. Energy moves. Point your toes to the sky. Relax your ankles. Bring your hands to the floor, palms down, as a steadying device. Rock on that sacrum till you find your center. You likely will bring your feet a little bit closer towards the floor. Belly is engaged here. Palms on the floor, fingers connect to the floor. Each finger pad, forearms to the floor. And allow your legs to shake here, like that baby temper tantrum with your belly steady, shaking and releasing, using your belly, using your legs, shaking hard, releasing while you're steady on the floor. Your torso's not moving, your legs are moving. Come to stillness. Bend one knee and then the other. Lower your left foot to the floor, wrap your hands around the right shin, hug it in tightly to your chest. Stretch your left leg long. Roll out the right ankle in either direction. Come to stillness. Hug that right knee in towards you a little bit and laterally. Bring your left knee in alongside and switch sides. Stretch the right leg long, hug that left knee and release the hip. Send some love to that right hip flexor if you need. You can stir the pot with your hip if that feels good. Hug it tight if that feels good. And pause in stillness here for a moment. Release your left leg, stretch it long alongside the right, and let yourself melt into the floor. Wiggle fingers and toes. Bend both knees, knock your knees together, feet on the sides of the mat, arms above you in an easy cactus shape. Drop knees to the right, left knee reaches to the front right corner, release your psoas, your hip. If you wish, gaze to the left, take a breath. Release, bring your knees back to center. Knock knee under your shoulders, be kind, drop to the left this time. Right knee reaches to the front left corner, release the right psoas, gaze to the right. Come back to center. Have a rock here on the sacrum for a moment. Knock your knees together. And if it feels good, you can do a windshield wiper or two in either direction here. A little faster, not holding it, the rocking and the moving, before coming to stillness in the center. Bring the soles of your feet together, knees apart, hand on heart, hand on belly, coming into Supta Baddha Konasana. Inviting relaxation, inviting restoration, inviting calm. If you need blocks under your knees, allow that. Letting your nervous system unwind here. Use the breath. Use the physical touch. Potentially use the stretch in the hips, or the sensation of the soles of the feet touching, or the toes connecting. As your mind begins to wander, bring it back to your body, perhaps to the palmar surface of the hands, listening underneath, potentially to your belly, to your heart space, honoring whatever comes up, not trying to stuff it away or change it. All the yoga and mindfulness and mindset work, it doesn't change the reality, and it doesn't mean that we will be graceful with every day. It just gives us the tools to approach it with intention, soften it. As things come up, let them be. Don't waste your energy resisting. Allow them to move through you. Welcome them, embrace them. And then you'll notice that you can also welcome them on their way. When you feel complete here, bring your hands to your outer thighs and draw your knees together. Widen your feet to hips width, palms on the earth. Press into your feet, lift up into a bridge pose. Shimmy your shoulders underneath, hips will reach to the sky. Engage your glutes. Knees energetically connect, don't let them flop out to the sides. Toes face forward, lifting hips. Shimmy shoulders a little bit more. Press your hips to the sky. Let your heart hang light. Notice your throat all squunched up here. your hips and rear end might be shaking a little. Untuck and slowly release to the floor. Let yourself melt and land. Let the sensations travel around. Notice palms on the floor, soles of the feet on the floor. Taking in a huge breath. Exhale, stretch your legs long. Let the toes fall to the outer edge of the mat. Palms fall open to the sky about 6 inches from your waist. We'll come into Shavasana. Wiggle fingers and toes. If you need to grab a blanket or a bolster for under your knees, feel free. If you're here, tighten everything. Tighten your feet, your hands, your glutes. Lift up your feet and your head. Everything tight, 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 tight. Exhale, release, and melt into the floor once again. Letting go, softening. Letting go of control of the breath. Letting go of control of all the muscles, the thoughts, the energy. Letting the mat hold you. Letting the earth beneath hold you, cradle you, and take care of you for the next few minutes. Your only job to soften, relax, surrender, and restore. If you want to stay longer, please, please do. For those of you who want or need to come out, gently begin to deepen your breath, ever so gently. Let it be several breaths of deepening. There's no rush and no hurry. Wiggle fingers and toes. And take a delicious stretch, one that feels good to you. No judgment about what it looks like. Let your body be your guide. And staying in your body, slowly transition up to a comfortable seat where we began. And when you arrive, you may sit back on your block or your bolster if you wish. Close eyes and bring your hands to hearts. But this time, making circles with one hand. Place the other hand on your belly, making circles there too. Just enjoying the skin to skin, the motion, the circling, and switch hands. Opposite hand on heart and on belly. Bring both hands to heart and come to stillness. And find your stillness. You may need to readjust. Close eyes, drop back in. Notice your sit bones on the earth. Grow your spine tall, reach the crown of your head to the sky. Hand still on heart, hand on hand, hand on heart. Take in a big deep breath, sending the breath to the palmar surface of the hands, wrapping your heart with it. Long, smooth, intentional exhale.
Notice for a moment how you feel in your body. Hopefully a little more replete, a little softer. Your nervous system a little less reactive, potentially more calm or steadiness. Use the word that comes to mind to you for how you feel. Thank you all so much for practicing with me today. May you all have a day of enjoying being in your body, inviting a little bit more calm, taking time to replenish, restore, and replete. The light in me shines and reflects and honors the light in each and every one of you. I hope you will join me again tomorrow or Sunday or Monday for more yoga. May you all be well. May you all be safe. And may we meet again soon. Namaste.